Boys, Christmas is coming up.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you're excited about it.
I actually am. I can't wait. I need a break from work, not the podcast.
Oh, right. I was going to say, yes.
I love the podcast.
NFL only intensifies over Christmas. I was
It's
looking at it.
It's the best time of the year. Like from now until Christmas, there's random games on random days, college and NFL.
Yeah. Tell you what, daily show's tough to maintain over Christmas. Got to get a few in the bank.
You have to do some pre-recording.
But you can't pre-record because there's like Christmas Day games, Boxing Day games. So just going to excuse myself from family functions briefly whilst I give them
There's nothing on our Christmas Day this year.
No, that's right.
But
that's right.
American Christmas Day.
24 hours of family, then straight back to the grind.
Stuff them. Not even 24. They don't need it.
Stuff them. Stuff your family, says Chris Hall. Well, speaking of stuffing, we're talking stuffing stockings, Dos, because there might be people that are listening that haven't done their shopping. It's about a 95% male audience, so I would say 95% of our audience has not done their Christmas shopping. Or if there are people that are asking you, the listener, what do you want? And you don't know. It's hard, isn't it, Dos? It's hard to know. When you've got the Outback Quarterback podcast, I mean, you don't need anything else, but people still insist on buying you gifts, right?
Oh, that's right, Curt.
So
there's a couple of locations that we can go to.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, you've how did you know?
No.
Well, look, if you want beer, if people are asking what you want and you say beer, I mean, the Suburban Brew, you can go there. Or if you want maybe a Stubby holder or something similar for that beer, you can go to the Stubby Club. Or if you've got a beard, you can tell them to get you the Wall of Jericho, which is the big collection of all the samples of their beard oils, Dos. And where would they find those discounts, the discounts for each of those businesses? Where would they find it?
The Outback Quarterback Instagram page.
I don't know about that.
No?
The description of this episode. All right?
Oh, it's in our episode.
It's in the episode
Okay.
description,
Sorry,
every single
apologies.
one. So look at that. You get 15, 20% off, all sorts of stuff. The codes are there. Christmas, we've got you sorted. Let's get into it. Boys, it was a big day of NFL. It always is. Week 13, red zone, headlines everywhere, a dirty hit, a knocked out quarterback, a Kirk Cousins calamity, a sizzling Steelers offense, and much, much more. It's the Outback Quarterback Podcast on a Monday evening. We are live, or pre-recorded, sort of, from Muscle Cat Studios. Chris Hall here with me. Matthew Maidment here with me. Doss is the QB1. Hawley's the QB2, even though he forgot when he signed the mug. And I'm Curtis DeWoya, QB3. How you going, Hawley?
I'm good, mate. Have we had any feedback on the mug signings?
We've had a couple of people say impressive logistics. Got them out quickly. We've had a couple of people say good quality product. And our customers were very happy with the signing. So nothing negative.
What about Adams? Was he upset with the QB3 or happy?
I haven't seen any disparaging comments. Doss, you monitor that, the social messages. Has Adam marked up about the incorrect
No, he hasn't.
labeling?
Not that I've seen.
Well, maybe he took your explanation, Hawley, that it's a special edition, you know?
It's one of a kind, isn't
That's
it?
right. You know when a player makes an error in their signature and that becomes something that in 50 years it sells for millions?
Adds character.
Yeah, it does add character. Doss, it's a humid, muggy day outside. Not very opposite from the Buffalo Bills snowstorms. It's just quite uncomfortable.
Although the
here.
temperature in here, you've got the aircon cranked up. We're starting to get down to 4 Celsius in here. I was thinking about wearing a jersey tonight, and then I saw the temp, and then I thought, Curt won't have the aircon on this week, but no, he got it on.
Well, speaking of attire, I've got something on, boys, that I hope you'd noticed. I copped
He's got
flack
a
last
Chiefs
week.
cap on.
Jumped on the bandwagon.
I copped flack for last week for not showing my allegiances, so I just wanted to prove that I do own some Kansas City gear. Dirty hat too. I've had it for a while, so
Since what? 2018.
yeah, I think bought this in 2020.
It's even worse.
Bought in lockdown. Now, Doss.
Yes.
There was an interesting fantasy score this week that you were keeping tabs on. Do you want to tell everyone what's happening there?
Well, I was, but then results kind of went the way that the All Stars needed. So,
Okay.
Oh, you thought I was going to get kicked out of playoffs, did you?
I thought, well, you're looking shaky.
In Div 1 of our 6-tier league. So lost last week to 10th place, losing this week to 11th.
Yeah, and I think you probably will lose unless...
I need 30 points from Judy and Joku.
It's a worrying run of form. Are you not a little worried that your team started to lose touch heading into playoffs, even though you're going to make it?
Not at all, mate.
Why?
Playoffs are a different breed. My team is built for playoffs.
Is it?
We're just having a bit of a downer going into the playoffs, but I'll give them a bit of the week before playoffs. I'll rest a couple of guys. We'll have a good training session. The defense will be up and about. We'll be ready to go.
And you get the top team next week.
Yeah, he's got a few guys on bye though.
Yeah, so we'll see how you go.
It's irrelevant next week's game. The last 2 weeks and next week are dead rubbers for me.
Right. So you're going to go through a month of 4 weeks of dead rubbers before you're ready for the playoffs.
He's had results go his way today. results hadn't have gone his way today, the little fella over here would be just a little bit squirmy in the seat.
Do you think you boys might grow a pair and maybe have your own fantasy team next year? Put yourself on the line, Dos, or you just want to keep?
Well, I had to commission across 6.
Didn't have to. You were offered to play
divisions.
first, and you decided not to.
I didn't want to take a spot,
You were scared.
so I thought I would.
You didn't want to draft players and then fail.
Oversee
And don't
72
you laugh?
teams.
You did the exact same thing.
It's
I'm the only
funny.
one. I'm the only one that put myself out there to actually have a crack, and I'm first year I'm in the playoffs.
You know what? I have a confession to make.
yeah.
I have been representing the Outback Quarterback podcast in something. It's a tipping competition, NFL tipping, and out of like 130, I was coming 47th after an even slower start. But I got myself into almost the top third. For the last 2 weeks, I've forgotten to put my tips in, so I've absolutely plummeted. So
what, you're only telling us now?
yeah.
I didn't know you were in a tipping comp.
Well, I was sort of saving it until I won it, and then I could surprise you guys.
Kind of feels
The prize money.
like he's been cheating on us a little bit.
I thought we might have
What
done
way?
a communal sort of
I would have thought.
input between the three of us, and we come to a consensus.
Oh, so now you guys are united, are you?
Well, we know Curt is biased towards a lot of teams. That's probably why he was only coming 40th.
But sorry, what team would I be biased to? The Chiefs, and they're 11-1, mate. I reckon that might have helped.
All the definitely.
Although I always tip against Nick Sirianni, which has hurt.
Yeah, that's hurt. Yeah, all the teams opposite is snake draft.
Yeah, I've been updating that live. It's still ugly reading for you and I.
I haven't looked today.
You've
I haven't
risen by
updated
1%. Hooley, you've stayed exactly the same, and I've dropped by 1%.
I thought
So
the Jets were going to get one today.
It's all coming up, Dos. Look, we've got all the games to go through today. It was a really good morning of Red Zone, Dos. I told you last night I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I just need that extra half an hour because I'm struggling when it comes to podcast time. Couldn't help myself. Went to bed, looked at the clock, thought I could squeeze out 6 hours and 58 minutes of sleep. Set the alarm for 4:28, and I was up, and I saw it all. Then I had a little nap in here. I just removed the pillow before from the relaxation corner. So I'm ready to go. But it was it's just professionalism, mate. What's unbelievable about that? I decided to get up half an hour earlier and I made it up later in the
We
night.
were up at 4:30.
No, you weren't.
Dos had to do a 3-hour. What did you do this morning at work, Dos? 3-hour workout.
3-hour workout. Yeah. So no, I was up early as well.
Yeah, you were.
Kurt, as always.
But it was one of the better
Good
Red
morning.
Zone mornings.
Yeah, good
really
morning.
good. All sorts of stuff, which we'll get into. We'll start with the scrap heap. Now, we had some good feedback that the game run-through song was back. We get through the games that just weren't as exciting or weren't as consequential. We'll do 4 games quickly.
Mac is back.
Hey?
Mac is back.
I wasn't going to start there, but Mac Jones is not back.
Oh, he's back, baby.
He is not. Did you watch it? He's not back. Yes, he threw 2
back,
touchdowns
baby.
and no interceptions.
Oh,
but he
he
also
op-
missed Brian Thomas on an open 70-yarder.
So he missed one throw.
He missed more than one throw,
When
mate,
did he
I'll tell you
play
that.
well? When the game was on the line.
When the game was over and they weren't really going to get
And
into
who's
it.
been doing that all year except winning? Paddy. Paddy's been playing
But
average
they-
all year.
but
Then
they've won
plays
11
plays
games.
well at the end. Yeah, because he has a good defense.
That is...
I'm saying Paddy
an
and Mac.
appalling
Paddy
argument.
and Mac at the moment for me are level-headed.
Mahomes and Mac Jones. Oh, Chris Hall.
Well, let's
What a
start there then.
start.
Let's start there. It was the Texans 23 over the Jags 20. It's preposterous stuff. Texans 8-5. Jaguars 2-10. And I put this one in the scrap heap because neither team is inspiring at the moment, despite the Mac Jones comeback apparently. And the score shouldn't have been this close. It was 23-6 with 12 minutes to go. Mac Jones was up and down, I have here for the Jags. Yes, 2 touchdowns, but also missed chances. It was Parker Washington who was the main producer with 103 yards and a score. For the Texans, Mixon and Collins both went over 100 yards. But this game was marred, Dos, by an awful cheap shot. Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair on quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence was sliding. Al-Shaair lined him up, led with the forearm, and knocked him out cold. He was ejected, as was cornerback Jarrion Jones, as the Jags rightly flew the flag for their QB with a massive brawl ensuing. And Al-Shaair, he didn't stop there. He continued making a fool of himself. He refused to leave the field, throw his helmet off, and tried to go at Brandon's shirt. It was ridiculous. So look,
Just wanted to keep it going. Then plenty to the fans going out to the tunnel as well. The Jags fans leaning over, giving him heaps.
I mean, we laugh at that bit, but the hit was a disgrace. And if the NFL's serious, this should be a proper ban.
yeah,
right?
you'll get a suspension. Yep.
I find it hard to predict NFL bans. Sometimes they don't do
Mate,
much. with
someone
things like
could
this.
get done for trafficking drugs and he'll get like 2 weeks. And I probably shouldn't say too much about.
No, that's right.
Someone could get done for murder and miss a year.
Is that an OJ pop?
Well, yeah, my boy OJ came in the first.
You can't libel the dead, Chris. Go your hardest.
OJ came to our first. What do we call it again? The dinner
Oh,
we
the
have?
Outback Quarterback dinner party.
The
He
dinner
did.
party.
How dare you speak of one of our distinguished guests like that? Goodness
But you're
me.
right. The way they work their suspensions is odd.
And
Well,
fines.
I wasn't even talking about the off-field stuff, really. I find it hard to find a thread in the on-field incidents and what they cop. But we'll wait and see what happens. But Lawrence, well, I mean, will he miss time? We were talking about this before. Do you think he's out for a little while with the concussion?
Concussion.
I think they might even just call it.
Because it was one of those ones, it wasn't quite the fencing of the fingers, but it was the arms up in the air. Wasn't able to control his
It's
movements.
enough. I think it's enough to miss next week, and then I would say probably miss a couple, and then after that they've only got 3 games left, and they're obviously not going to play playoffs. So if he is having a few issues, then
Yeah.
put him on
Oh,
ice.
and Mac Jones is back apparently. So
And-
why would
and
you
Mac's
play
back.
Lawrence? The Titans and the Commanders. Well done, Commanders. 42-19. They're 8-5. The Titans 3-9. They took a 28-0 lead early in the second quarter, and this game was never a contest. Hence the scrap heap. There were 2 more touchdowns from MVS. No, not MVS. NWI, the second coming of MVS. DOS, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, your boy, who now has 8 touchdowns in 8 weeks for the Titans. You love it.
Well, he just keeps popping up for big plays, and the one catch, or the couple of catches you see him get a game are touchdowns.
He's at
That's
20
it. Nothing in between.
He's had 20 receptions, 8 of them touchdowns.
Yeah.
20 receptions for the year.
Is that what he's had? 20 for
the
8
year.
TDs.
Jaden Daniels was, he was pretty good. He had a bad pick, but he had a touchdown that he ran in. He had 3 touchdowns thrown. 2 of those
good
scores
day.
to Terry McLaurin. Brian Robinson, he was electric. No, it says 109 yards in the box score and a TD, but he was better than that. He set them up in that first half. A much needed one, stopping a 3-game losing streak for Washington. And rookie safety Mike Sanders still had a sack strip and a recovery.
been
as well.
good all year.
He has. He's been
He's had a very
he was
nice
a high
season.
risk prospect, but
Yeah.
he's been a hit so far. The Rams and the Saints, 2 to go in the scrap heap, 21-14. Yes, it was close, but it wasn't the greatest game on earth. Rams are 6-6, the Saints 4-8, and I gave them a little sneaky chance to get a playoff run going if they won this one, but of course they let us down. Jared Verse pressured Derek Carr 6 times and forced a late fumble as Kyron Williams went for 109 yards at almost 7 per carry, keeping the Rams season alive and effectively ending the Saints' very slim hopes. The Rams didn't score a point in the first half, but Stafford and co. eventually got going while the real MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, was the only touchdown scorer as the Saints fizzle out in a manner that we are becoming accustomed to in New Orleans.
Taysom Hill knee injury. Looks
Yeah.
like done for the season.
Out for the
That's
year.
not good. And when we say out for the year, I mean, there's only a few weeks left,
Yeah.
but is it a year-long injury? Is it a bad one?
Haven't seen yet the official report.
Is
but
it possibly
it's
ACL?
not- Yeah, it's not looking good.
That's not good, especially at 34.
Can't get a gauge on this Rams team though.
No, I was thinking that before. I just can't predict them. We'll wait and see if they become a factor in the next couple of weeks. The last game for the scrap heap, the Bills thrashed the 49ers in the snow, 35-10. Bills 10-2, Niners 5-7. More like Sunday night flop ball. Am I right, Bruce? You like that? You always like those "Am I right" jokes.
You nailed it, Curtis. leave the jokes to the professionals, buddy.
But you know what? I've used the "Am I right" pun joke about 3 times in the career of this podcast, and you've laughed every time. Dos never, but you do. That's who I do it for. The 49ers, they couldn't fire a shot in the snow. CMC goes down with a knee injury. You called it, Dos. You said he'd get injured.
Yeah.
So you'd be happy?
No, I'm not happy actually. Not at all.
Hey, Doss will be happy when another coach gets fired.
But, well, there was good news out of this one. Josh Allen becomes the 4th ever player and the 1st ever QB to achieve the triple crown in a game. That's throwing, rushing, and receiving a touchdown thanks to a little lateral play with Amari Cooper. Improvised. James Cook, Josh Allen, and Ray Davis, they were the guys who did the damage on the ground as the 49ers playoff hopes take another big hit and the Bills clinch playoffs.
And the division.
Yeah. Well, division and then hence playoffs.
Yep.
There you go. That's a
And
scrap heap.
rolling. Undefeated at home.
This just proves that if you put good players around a quarterback, he plays well. You take the good players away, he doesn't play well. Because Brock Purdy is not having a good season.
Oh, I thought that was disparaging Josh Allen, which I
No,
thought would be
Josh
very
Allen's
unwise.
Josh Allen's playing very, very well.
He is indeed. That's a scrap heap. Back with some slower games in a moment. All right, let's get into the Chargers and the Falcons. The Chargers 17 beat the Falcons 13. Chargers 8-4. Falcons 6-6. Today was nothing short of disastrous for Kirk Cousins. He threw 4 interceptions, making his last 3 weeks no touchdowns, 6 INTs, no wins, 3 losses. The main nightmares for Cousins were rookie cornerback Taheeb Still. I mean, you know you're not well known when the commentators repeatedly say your name wrong.
Wrong. Yeah.
They
that
kept
was
referring
incorrect.
to him as Stills. Not
Yeah.
Dante Stills. It's Taheeb
Kenny
Stills.
Stills.
It's not Kenny Stills. It's Taheeb Still. 2 interceptions, including a 62-yard return for a TD. And Derwin James, Doss, was dominant as well.
He's very good.
Penetrated the backfield at times, bossed the secondary, including a pick of his own. Herbert was quiet, 147 yards, but 117 of them went to your boy Lad McConkey on 9 receptions. And it was the Chargers defense who got it done overall, as Atlanta opened the door for Tampa Bay, who then went on to win. So Chargers, they held up on defense. I think Jim Harbaugh got lucky with a play call. We'll get into that in a sec, Doss. But let's talk Kirk. Let's talk the Falcons.
Sure. They are in a lot of trouble because Bijan Robinson had a nice game today, and Drake London.
He did everything he could.
Drake London had a pretty good get, nine catches for 86 yards. But outside of that, I mean, there was a Ray McLeod big play, but there was nothing consistent about this Atlanta offense. 3 losses in a row now, and they outgained the Chargers 350 yards to 187, but the turnovers just killed them. And
they were ugly interceptions too. Like the one that he floated into the end zone. Triple coverage. That was a lollipop. We were talking before, Hawley. I can't figure out what Cousins was trying to do there. And you don't often see meltdowns this bad.
When a quarterback throws it like that, with that kind of penetration, there wasn't much of it, and that loop, it's usually they're placing it to a spot where the receiver's wide open.
Yep.
And when he threw it, I was like, this is TD.
Yeah.
And then they panned to the end zone. I was like, this is not a TD. The only other, I thought maybe he was trying to throw it out of the end zone, and he just
got it majorly wrong.
Majorly wrong.
It was bizarre.
But there was another pick. That throw was just slow. There was no penetration. It just didn't look like an NFL quarterback. It looked like an old, tired NFL quarterback.
Well, it's now been a month since he's thrown a touchdown because there was the bye in there, Doss. Do we need to start thinking about Michael Penix? I mean, I know I'm not trying to panic here, but this was woeful, and he has not been himself for the last month. And even before that, he was up and down, right? He had that massive overtime game where he threw 505 yards and 4 touchdowns, and that was Kirk. But
both of those games against Tampa.
Yeah, that's right. He went off against Tampa.
So they got the tiebreaker against Tampa for the division.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Tampa are going to win more games than them. I think they will.
Yeah.
So
well, they got a softer run, or better,
very soft run
to the end than what Atlanta do, because Atlanta go on the road to Minnesota next week for Cousins' revenge game.
Cousins' revenge game
up in Minnesota. So Brian Flores is just going to blitz the hell out of that Falcons O-line and Kirk Cousins next week. So we'll see how he goes, because he struggled today.
He did.
With the pressure that the Chargers brought. Chargers defense, though, smash mouth football. Coming off the short week, Atlanta came off the bye. They came off Monday Night Football, the Chargers.
So that's Kirk fresh. Imagine stale Kirk.
Yeah, Chargers DC Jesse Minter. He's done a first year coordinator. He's done an excellent job. They're allowing 15.9 points per game, best mark in the league, and you spoke about Steele before. Derwin James, very good. Khalil Mack is excellent. Diane Henley, their linebacker.
He's been sneaky good, hasn't he?
He's been very good.
You chopped me up for not giving him votes a few weeks ago.
Yes.
I had to send a message to, who was it? Ash, justifying why I didn't. I can't remember what his response was.
Yeah.
But no, they got a very nice defense, Doss. There was one moment, though, on Jim Harbaugh where he got lucky and he got bailed out by that defense. It was early in the fourth. They were in their own territory and they went for a fake punt.
The fake punt, 1 yard short.
And I don't know why they did that.
odd.
And it worked, except they didn't get that last yard.
Yeah.
They completed the pass. And then that was the drive that resulted in the Derwin James pick on Kirk Cousins. So James bailed them out. But if that didn't work out and Atlanta took the lead and they lose from there, Harbaugh was in for a lot of scrutiny. He got lucky.
Like, considering they did have 4 picks, or the defense picked him off 4 times, or the Chargers picked him off 4 times. One was a pick 6. The Chargers' offense weren't very good.
No.
They should have won.
No,
they should have won this by a lot more. Essentially, they lost. Like, their offense versus offense lost. It was only the Chargers' defense that put up the extra points to get them the win. So the Chargers need it. They're not going to be able to. They obviously lost to Baltimore last week. They're not going to be able to pick off quarterbacks. They're not going to create 4 or 5 turnovers every week. So if they want to have a bit of a playoff run, Herbert needs to get this offense up and running again.
2 more things before we move on from this game. Younghoe Koo, he continues to struggle, kicker for Atlanta. He's battling a hip injury. He was a 50-50 to play this week. He went 2 of 3, missed a short one early, 35 yards. He's on 6 out of 12 run the last 4 weeks. 6 out of 12 field goals. That's a problem.
I don't have any stats to back this up at the moment, but do we have a slight kicker issue this year?
I looked this up yesterday
Okay,
because
where do we
I
sit?
felt we did.
But we don't,
it's
do we?
1.2% worse than last year.
Is that it?
Well, yeah, but that is relatively significant over how many kicks there are. It's not as big as I thought it would be, but we had another bad week this week. So I'll have a look once tomorrow's done.
Over 50 yards is
Better than ever.
better than ever.
Yeah.
It's these little short chip kicks.
It is.
Or little chip shots.
And we're no worse from extra points either, which I felt like we were. But
You mentioned the you mentioned the Chargers offense, Hawley. So the O-lines are concerned because Atlanta's defense has one of the lowest sack rates and pressure rates in the NFL, and they allowed 5 sacks today. So that's a concern. With J.K. Dobbins going on to IR as well, only 56 yards on the ground.
I did not notice he went on to IR.
Yeah, I think it was on Friday or Saturday.
Sam Haskins and Gus Edwards, it doesn't fill you with confidence.
And Lad McConkey's had 550 yards in his last 6 games.
And this is probably after I called him a boring wide receiver
is.
that you don't. And at that stage though, you didn't turn the TV on and think, I want to watch Lad McConkey.
Oh, I did.
But
Doss did.
Really appreciate that route running of Lad McConkey.
But now I'll happily admit that I was wrong because his last month and a bit has been exceptional. Probably the best rookie wide receiver over the last month.
And then you got the boy, Brock Bowers, Georgia just producing time.
Brock Bowers is third in the league just in receiving yards.
He plays like a receiver, Brock Bowers.
I tell you, one good thing about this game, it was quick. It was really quick.
Yeah.
They were 2 minutes into the third quarter. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati weren't even at the 2-minute warning of the second quarter. So they had their whole halftime break and everything. All right, Steelers and Bengals. Speaking of that game, Steelers won 44-38. They're 9-3. The Bengals are a woeful 4-8. They're done.
Cross them off.
Now-
Not officially, but they're done.
Yeah,
Now, everyone's saying, the defense is good, but the offense is struggling. Said all the experts.
Hey, your mate called him out last week. I think Russell listened. He said, offense, they can't do it with this offense.
Well, today, Russ started with a 51-yard pick six to Cam Taylor-Britt. Didn't look good. But then they all said a big, to all those experts. Hey, experts, how does 44 points and 520 yards grab you? How does 414 yards from a Russell Wilson, 29-38, 3 touchdowns, and but 3 TDs.
Third most in his career.
How does the highest scoring Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game ever grab you on a day where Pittsburgh confirmed their 21st straight season without a losing record, tying the Dallas Cowboys from the 60s through the 80s? You've tied a good record when it spans 3 decades.
Landry's Cowboys.
Which team was that? Oh, yeah, it was the Cowboys from the 60s to the 80s.
Landry's Cowboys. Roger Staubach. Get amongst it.
Oh, boy. The Bengals had their charges again, but at the end of the day, they keep losing while playing well, boys, and that just doesn't get it done. Their season's over. TJ Watt, Nick Herbig, I should say, and Cam Hayward were big again. 4 sacks and 2 forced fumbles between them.
44-38, Curt.
Yep.
Would you have expected at least one player to go over 100 yards today?
Yes. No one did.
No one did.
Old Pico had 90-odd, didn't he?
No one even got close. Jamar Chase had 86.
74. Okay. Pickens, another undisciplined penalty. Gun gesture.
Najee did go over 100 yards rushing and receiving, but
Scrimmage.
It
wasn't 2 gun-related gestures, was it, Doss?
No, but there were 2
taunting or
2 15-yard penalties after 2 of his catches.
Broderick Jones imploring him just to relax.
Trying to get him to calm down.
Killing us, George.
I apologise on Russ. That was the second most yards he's thrown.
He was. He's only gone over 400 yards 3 times.
Yes.
Did you get that stat from the Outback QB Daily? Because I went into that in detail.
I didn't listen to the Daily on the way up here.
Synergy then. Synergy.
I normally do.
Imagine not listening to the Daily,
I missed
Chris.
the juice.
Unbelievable.
Good episode, Chris?
Yeah, one of the better ones.
Thanks, mate.
I enjoyed it.
Cheers.
Najee was good. Screens and play calling from Arthur Smith, very effective against a very porous Bengals defense. And Curt, our boy, defensive coordinator for the Bengals, Captain Lou Anarumo.
What a name.
I think he may be taking the fall this time or tomorrow. He may not make an appearance for the rest of the season.
Well, I might get him on board for Musclecat.
You should.
The Lou Anarumo show. Whoa! Doesn't that sound good?
That sounds like a good show, actually.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah, their zone coverage is just awful on defense. And again, 4th loss this season for the Bengals where they've scored over 30 points. all other 31 teams have 3 losses combined. It's ridiculous. When that happens, the defense is just so bad. And Joe Burrow statistically is having the best season of his career, and there's just no reward for it whatsoever.
No. But can we just, on the experts calling out Pittsburgh's offense, now I noticed that you put a post up today that said, hate it.
Story.
Oh, yeah. You put a story up about everyone saying the offense wasn't good enough. And then you put like a little ironic smile next to it. Were you referencing yourself there? Because you did say that last week.
Because I said that the offense is good enough.
Yeah, Hawley.
Yeah.
Both of us. More Hawley, not me.
Hang on. You didn't say the offense wasn't good enough, did you?
I said it's good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back to Pittsburgh's offense. Yeah.
I don't. I didn't have a lot of faith in.
Yeah, right.
Pittsburgh
Okay, no, that's
offense.
all that I'm checking. Just because there was a little like sarcastic smile, and I thought if you're doing the post there saying, essentially where are the haters? I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you were one of the haters last week.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
sweet.
all right.
There was also. Can we get on the Anthony Richardson?
Well,
one
we
as
can talk about the game because you've gone on the Instagram and you said Richardson throws a fourth quarter dime.
I thought we're talking the Steelers Bengals.
Yeah, well, that game's over. We've only got limited
We
time
haven't even
here.
spoken about Joey Porter Jr. giving up 6 penalties.
He had a bad day. And look, now this is a classic tactic from Doss.
Dropped a pick as well.
Classic tactic from Doss. He's such a great deflector. So we will bring up that Anthony Richardson thing.
We can. No, we're going to talk. When we talk Colts and Pats.
You're right. Joey Porter had a very uncharacteristically bad day. He dropped the pick and he had that shocking penalty where he panicked. So anyway, they got it done. They're looking good, the Steelers. 9-3. All right, we're going to do Gutsy calls in just a second. Gutsy calls, boys. Just when I start to think, I miss Gutsy calls, it's the end of the month and it's time to do it again. Now, let's go through our November results, okay? In October, we got 2 out of 6. We were thrilled. 1 out of 6 is our benchmark, so we covered 2 months worth there. And that was good because we didn't go very well in November. Should we start with you, Doss? You had 3. You had a pop of 3. Just add an extra one in there. Do you remember your trade deadline day one?
Yeah, I was short by a couple.
Yeah, you were. You said minimum 10 players traded on deadline day. There were 8. You were very close.
Good effort.
You know what was unlucky for you? 18 draft picks were traded, and there were no trades that involved more than one player. They were all a player on one side or a player on picks, 4 picks. There was never a player for a player.
Right.
So there were 8 individual trades.
So it would have been 2 players.
Yep.
And there was also 3 or 4 players that moved around when we recorded the episode as well.
Yeah, I just went on the November 5
the last
period.
day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you were very close. It was closer than I thought it would be. You said Insta followers 4,000 by the end of the month. I love your optimism. We did fall short by 221. We're at 3,779. We picked up 103 in the month, though, and that was with very little financial investment. And I just want to clarify, the last time when I said listeners organic versus not organic, when I say that, I just mean that sometimes we pay for ads to promote the page. We never buy followers.
No, we haven't
never
bought any.
buy followers. Not like other NFL podcasts.
Or just other pages and people in general.
Yeah. Not like Mados 22 page.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's flying along. A couple of hundred.
Waiting for his blue tick.
But I reckon,
4,000
is not far away. And we had an MVP post that went nuts the other day, Dos. Just Saquon Barkley, popular among the masses. Rams to be undefeated in November, you said. They went 2-2. This was a 3-pronger. Kyron Williams to keep his TD streak going. He blew it in the first week.
Yeah.
And you
Actually
said...
lost the TD streak for about 3 weeks.
I know.
Yeah, until today.
Yeah.
And Matt Stafford, you said,
Last
would
week.
throw the most touchdowns in the month. He threw 8. Burrow threw 15. Burrow hardly won a game there. I said Aaron Rodgers would retire or mutually part ways with the Jets. I tell you, it's not far off.
It's actually pretty close.
We're got to be close to
He
that.
did come out and say that he wants to stay with the Jets next year, though.
Yeah, but I don't believe that.
Neither do I.
I put in our first ever 4-pronger. Remember that? The Cowboys. I said that acquire Travis Etienne before trade deadline. Wrong. Etienne to average at least 1 touchdown per game. Wrong, even for the Jags. He didn't score a single touchdown in the month. The Cowboys to go 0-4. Wrong. They were 2-2. And despite that, I said Mike McCarthy would not get sacked, which was correct. But then I said that he'd get sacked in December after they beat the Giants, lose to the Bengals, and then lose to Carolina. I think that's what I said. Something like that. Hawley, yours were Colts under Joe Flacco to put up 120 points in 4 games, 30 per game. They went 13 points, then 20 points, then he got benched. So you were 27 points off the pace.
So that was wrong.
So that was wrong. And you said the Pats 3-1. You got the numbers right in the wrong order. It was 1-3. The words playoff run were also mentioned.
Well, if they went 3-1, they start a little playoff run.
It's extraordinary.
If they went 3-1, they'd be sitting What, 5 and 8? Yeah, they're still a long way off.
It's still a long way off. All right, let's get this Gutsy Calls music going. December. Now, I've factored in the first week of January into mine, so we'll just, if you want to extend it, you can do it. But what have you got, Hawley? Give us your December Gutsy Call.
Falcons will sit Kirk Cousins at some stage. They start Michael Penix, and Penix leads them to the playoffs.
Okay, so that is Gutsy because of the playoffs component.
I think so.
Because if Cousins has one more game, Penix is probably in. One more bad game.
If he goes 0-3 again, and they lose, then
if he's 0-9 across 4 weeks, you got to put someone else.
You can't keep playing him, can you?
Okay, but then Penix takes him to the playoffs.
Penix takes him to the playoffs.
That's gutsy. That's very gutsy. Throwing in a rookie in December. Lead the way, Michael. I like it. Dos.
I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions to break the single season record for the most 50-point games scored in a season.
Oh, okay. What are we at?
So they're currently on 2. There's 5 teams that have tied with the record that are on 3. And the most recent was the 2013 Denver Broncos. So they need 2 more 50-point games in their last 5 games.
Oh, I like it. I think that's gutsy enough. Who have they got? Have you got the list there?
Well, they do play Green Bay in one of them, so I'm
Chalk that up.
They need a shootout, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
not
needed thrashings this
necessarily.
year.
They need early points and then late defensive turnovers that turn into points.
Oh, well, hold on. So Packers, Bills are the next 2, both at home.
Tough.
But then Bears away,
Oh,
49ers away,
Won't be a shootout.
and then Vikings at home to finish.
That could be the shootout.
imagine doing that last play of the regular season with backup QB.
Well, see, you say
Tim Boyle in there.
You say shootout, but the 2 50-point games they've had is 52-14 Titans, 52-6 Jags.
And the Dolphins put up 70 points in a 70-20 game last year, so I don't think it has to be
I think
a shootout.
towards the end of the season, though, if they get up big, they'll pull everybody.
That's you say it, but Philly are still winning games, and Minnesota are only 1 win behind them as well.
Yeah.
So there's.
But that's what I mean. If they're up, 35-10 going into the last quarter, I can't see the starters
Dan's
playing.
ruthless.
You reckon?
That
Ben
makes
Johnson.
it gutsier too, Hawley. Because
Jared-
Doss is saying, screw
Jared
that, we're
stays
going
on.
for it.
This team's ruthless. They just
they are.
pile points on.
Kneecaps bitten.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, the Chiefs, boys. We know their offense has not been the free-flowing former self that they were 2, 3, 4 years ago, right? And they play 3 of the best defenses in the game in the last 5 weeks. They got the Chargers first for points against, as in lowest. Broncos second. Steelers 5th. If you add up those teams' average points against per game, it totals 51.2. I propose that in those 3 games, the Chiefs are going to put up 90.
Oh, you're an
30
idiot.
a game against
You're an
those
idiot.
big defenses.
Let's jump on the
Hope the
bandwagon.
Chiefs lose all 3. In fact, that's going to be my gutsy call.
I thought your gutsy call was that they go 0-3 because that's
gonna be
more
mine.
that's more realistic than them putting up 30 points.
I'm going to
Well,
say.
that's why it's gutsy calls.
I'm going to say
It's not
that's
realistic
mine.
calls, is it?
Have they even put up 30 points yet this year?
A couple of times.
I'm trying to load it, but the
Week
internet's a
1
bit
against
slow out here.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Was one.
Baltimore, don't sneeze at that.
You need to get a
Won that
little,
one easily,
You
didn't
need to
they?
get a little Wi-Fi extender.
That one easily with the Isaiah Likely toe.
Are you struggling? Internet struggling, is it, Holly? Blank screen
It's
on
a blank
ESPN.
page.
Oh no, Holly's flying solo. He hasn't got his.
That's
How you
right.
got to go in Doss's trivia without the internet?
Well, I usually hotspot my own internet when I'm here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
We'll
so
go for it.
I'll add that to the charge.
Okay, well you're up. Gutsy, cool. What have you got?
They have hit 30 points a few times. My gutsy pull. Oh, the Jags. The Jags being led by comeback boy Mac Jones.
Oh, come
Go 4-0 this month.
on. Who've they got?
They have the
I did this in like October. It didn't work.
They have the Titans.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they weren't led by Mac Jones though.
Well, that's true.
Titans.
Yeah.
The Jets.
Yeah.
The Raiders.
Okay.
The Titans.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not even gutsy.
Does
then.
Uncle Doug keep his job if they win all 4?
Oh, of course. Any coach that wins 4 in a row, he's keeping his job, mate.
Imagine that 4-0 in December. See you, Dougie.
If they go 4-0 in December, we'll write a song, call it Mac is Back, and I'll sing it.
Okay.
Yep.
I like that.
Happy to do it.
Go Jags. Doss, number 2.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Chargers. Well, are we finishing the end of this to the end of the season
Yeah,
now?
go for it, yeah.
Because week 1's, or the last week.
Yeah, then we'll do playoff gutsy calls after that.
Yeah, okay, good. That's what I thought. Yeah, so Chiefs will drop the number 1 seed
Yep.
because they're going to lose to the Chargers, the Steelers, Broncos. Yeah, and those 3.
Who takes
Wait,
number
sorry,
1 seed?
is this
Pittsburgh?
just a completely vindictive gutsy call? Did you make that up just then?
Yeah,
Because I said they'd go well against
because I
them?
want to go against you.
Okay, cool. But
Made
you know
it
what?
up
That's
just
actually a
then.
good betting strategy for us. We've covered the field.
One of us
pretty
win.
much.
We've got the
Probably.
spread.
Well,
We're
no,
good.
because the Chiefs will still win all of their games, but score like 22 points.
Don't say that. I thought they scored 30 in week 1. They didn't. They scored 27.
So I just need a hotspot the internet to my computer because the Internet's no good out here.
Yeah, budget cuts, mate. Christmas time. Dos, what was your original Gutsy call that you're going to do?
No, I didn't have one. That's why I'm going to go with that one.
Unprepared.
Oh, well, I was busy.
Gutsy calls are getting harder.
Yeah.
Because they go through the same team. At the start of the year, they're okay. But
Easier.
I've already done Jets. I've already done
You know why they're getting harder? It's because so many teams are out of contention and just
Yeah.
sort of given up.
Yeah, fair.
And
it's
there's less
kinda
margin to
hard.
play
It's
with now.
Well, then I sort of thought, do I have like 9 teams looking for new coaches?
Well, I got to be. Don't go down that angle again, Dos. It's Christmas, for goodness sakes.
Well, there will be.
I've got a good one. Last one for this segment. We've been talking a lot about Saquon Barkley possibly breaking Eric Dickerson's record. Los Angeles Rams, 1984, 2,105 rushing yards. That's a record.
Dropped off a bit today.
Not by much, though. He's
think
about
about
120
20
yards. And so he's still sort of on track. I think he is still on track, just. I predict Saquon Barkley will fall short by 1 yard. 2,104, and the record's 2,105. That's my Gutsy call.
That would be devastating.
It would be. We'll be back in a second. B-roll of games, Dos. No reflection on the quality of the games. I've just got games B written down here. Colts.
Just the B block.
Colts 25. Patriots 24. 6 and 7 the Colts. 3 and 10 the Patriots. No playoff run in those boys. Well, how the heck do you evaluate this Anthony Richardson game? Mr. 50%. That's his completion rate for his career. He threw 12 of 24. That's 50%. He threw 2 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That's 50-50. And just for clarity, his completion rate for the season is actually 47.8. But you know what he did do? He did keep the game alive late by hitting Mo Alley Cox on 4th and 3. Then he found Alec Pierce for the touchdown to put them within a point. Then he ran in a 2-point conversion to win it. So there's that. It's another promising game from Drake May, but ultimately they couldn't capitalize on a 422 to 253 yard advantage. There was a 68-yard field goal attempt from Joey Sly, not one of your boys, Dos, which, to his credit, despite missing one earlier in the game, fell just short. It was on target, and it felt about 1.5 yards short. That would have been a record. The record's currently 66.
So
It's a heck of a
watching
kick.
that live,
It didn't
after
look
he
close
shanked
live,
one
did
from
it?
about 27 yards earlier, wide left, I thought,
Did you think it was going in?
This is on here.
Yeah, for half a second it did. Then it looked like it fell well short, but then they showed slide on.
It's only like a
It's a
couple
yard and a
yards
half,
short
yeah.
of the crossbar.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
If he had a tailwind or a bigger tailwind, that was through. But let's talk Richardson, because that is an impossible game to evaluate. I don't know where to put him in the votes for this because he won it for them at the end, but he had some horrible stuff in there again.
I don't think he gets votes.
I think he's in the votes. I don't think he's 5.
So you reckon he's one of the top 5 players?
Well, he had a game-winning drive.
He did have the game-winning drive, kept it alive, then produced both scores to win
Mate,
it at
he
the
threw
end.
for 109 yards.
No, I know, but he produced both scores at the end.
And he
to
threw
win it.
2 picks.
Yeah,
Of course he
understand.
produced
I just
the
read all
scores
that
as a
out. I know, I
quarterback.
get it.
He also had 80.
No, but quarterbacks don't necessarily do it. You still have to do it.
Well, if you want to, you're going to put quarterbacks in the votes that threw at 50%.
But it's not just
Because he had a
stats,
good
Hawley. There's a
drive.
lot of game context, and he did win it for them at the end. I'm not saying he's best on ground. He's certainly not. It's hard. I don't know. It's very hard. Could he be 6th best? Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't even. I mean, there aren't many other guys, I guess, that.
It wasn't a standout game from many other
No.
perspectives. But we were going to talk about Doss's post, the story. And I got to say, you do a great job, Doss. I was going through those, and I love that you upload all the scores in your comments. So for those wondering, Doss does write them. And your
course.
comment about Anthony Richardson was, Richardson gets it done.
Pure clickbait.
Where are the haters, man?
Oh, I
Pure
clicked.
clickbait.
You got me.
And all he
You
did,
got him.
and I was, yes.
He replied to his own podcast page.
Yeah, I was
He's
gonna
that angry.
I was gonna write. You boys are idiots. I was like, the bloke.
loved it.
The bloke threw 12 of 24. He had 12 completions. He went at 3 completions per quarter.
Yeah, it was awful
For
until the last
100
5 minutes.
for 109 yards. Well, so was Mac, and you're not putting Mac in the votes, are you?
No, because they lost and there were
He
far
didn't
better
win the
players than him.
game.
He didn't win them the game at the end.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Got to win the
It doesn't
game,
matter.
Hawley.
It doesn't
Clutch
matter.
time, you got to throw.
So you're giving Drake votes over Anthony Richardson? Because
Because
his QB ratings are
but
miles
it's not
ahead.
all stats. I don't care.
But his
about all the
rating as a
stats.
player was a lot better than Anthony
No,
Richardson.
one
No.
metric based purely on
So-
statistics.
Well, he
was
had
better.
more yards, better. He had 20. He went 24 of 30. Man, he only missed 6.
It was good. He's
He only
probably
had
in
6
there.
incompletions.
If you want to compare that, Drake May went 2 for 6 in the red zone and threw an interception on the goal line.
Well, the interception wasn't really his fault. It bounced
That was
bounced
fair
off.
It wasn't.
Bounced off of his receiver's chest. So it
Yeah.
was a perfect
Hey,
throw.
I told
Dos.
you that before, Hawley. Don't you use that
Hunter
factoid.
Henry.
Yeah,
Was that Hunter Henry?
I watched it.
Yeah,
I just
it was.
watched it.
Yeah. Colts' first win in New England.
Well, this is just
since
our MVP is a joke.
2006.
Mate, you haven't cast a vote in it for 4 weeks.
Yeah, because I realised it was a joke. I didn't want to be part of it.
Rubbish. Our MVP is full of integrity. It's the greatest system on earth.
It is.
It's better system than
When
last
Josh Allen goes above Jaden Daniels, which will happen.
Oh, and
this
by
week.
the way, everyone hating on us because Daniels is one whole vote ahead of Josh Allen. I mean, Daniels started better than Allen this year, was better for the first half of the year, and Daniels has played an extra game over Josh Allen.
Oh, Daniel's
All right.
going to get 5 votes this week as well.
He will get votes. Whether it's 5, I don't know. I'll have to look at that. Josh Allen will get 5 votes.
He will get 5.
So it is possibly tied.
Jaden gets 5. 25 of 30, 4 TDs.
He probably does.
There's no one
I'll
better-
look at that.
no
But
one better
point
than
being, he's played an extra game, and it's not preposterous to say that Daniels is in
Washington got the bye this
the
week,
discussion.
so
They do. All right. Anyway,
There's that.
where were we? Indianapolis Colts.
that game-winning drive, 5:34 left in regulation, 19 plays, 80 yards. It's the longest game-winning drive in the NFL since 2001.
Plays wise,
Hmm.
the most plays for a game winning drive.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot
That's
of plays
interesting. That
to
is
get
a
done
lot,
in
yeah.
5 minutes.
That's almost like
Yeah.
you couldn't mathematically do it with more.
Caleb Williams couldn't. He'll just go up and keep changing the plays. He can't get a play done in 32 seconds.
you
We're
can't
gonna go
an
back to
episode.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
I
Do-
didn't get to review that game because you
Well,
guys did
Doss
that.
thoroughly reviewed it and did a
Did
great
you?
job. I must say.
That was the one I just...
Daily Show again. He did
I
all
must
4
have missed
games.
it. I must have missed it on the Daily Show.
Are you subscribed or what?
I only just subscribed, yeah.
Are you serious?
I know.
5-star rating.
I'm in it.
This is going to factor into your first ever paycheck for Muscle Cap Media when it arrives.
Hey, he led the game-winning drive. Incomplete. Short, incomplete, short, incomplete. He had a lot of incompletions in this game-winning drive, Doss.
That's why it went for 19 plays.
This is why I went for 90 plays. I think he threw it less than 50%.
Email us, podcast@outbackqb.com.
2, 3.
How many votes should Anthony Richardson
4,
get for this
5,
game?
6.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if it's none, who are the 5 players that deserve them more than him? Please help us out. Doss, anything else on this? I mean, Hawley, let's all temper this with the fact that Hawley's a Patriots supporter and is very disappointed in that loss.
I was so upset. But he had 5 completions for 6 incompletions. So he went 5 of 11 in the game-winning drive, and you're giving him votes for that.
I didn't say I was giving him
We
any
said
votes yet.
possibly he's in the votes, and he still won the game. We're not going to flog this dead horse anymore because only so
I'll
many
keep
times we can
flogging it.
listen to the same argument. Christian Gonzalez had a great pick, Doss. He looked very nice.
Taekwon
today.
Lewis probably gets 5.
Taekwon. Yeah, I was going to say TL. All right, let's move on.
Zaire Franklin's probably another one up there as well.
You can do this game if you want, Doss.
Thanks.
Vikings and Cardinals in Minnesota. The Vikings won at 23-22. They're 10-2. It's an extraordinary record. The Cardinals are 6-6. They don't want to win the NFC West. The Cardinals dominated almost every key stat today, boys, including time of possession, 36 minutes to 24. Choked it. But it was honestly, and I don't like saying this because I like the guy, Kyler Murray, who cost them in the fourth quarter. His errors, 2 picks and a fumble forced by Jonathan Grenard, with Grenard following up with another big play straight after to tackle him to the ground. Darnold strong again, 2 TDs, no turnovers. The Cardinals blow a big one, and they let the Seahawks take the lead in the NFC West.
Well, I feel like we talked Kyler up a couple of weeks ago.
He was
Yeah.
playing good before the
Yeah,
bye.
and then he's really let us down. And we
You know what he is? He's a bit of a Baker with a bit less heart. Is that right? He's so up and down.
He's in terms
I
of
don't know
just
if you can
overall.
question the heart. That's
overall
probably
performance.
harsh, but overall performance, maybe.
Well, no, sorry. I wasn't meant to be disparaging of Murray. I think Baker's just got an extraordinarily huge heart. I mean, everyone pales in comparison to Baker when it comes to heart.
Baker he's the Phar Lap of the
He's-
NFL.
It's an abnormal
size of his heart.
size. Yeah.
Cardinals, Curt
Good one. Thank you.
and Hawley, their red zone conversion killed them because they dominated that first half. They should have had 3 touchdowns, and they had 2 field goals from the 13-yard line and another from the 6-yard line. Like that, you're
Got to put it away.
on the road. You got to win that. Like you got to put more points on the board early. Trey McBride continues to be Kyler's go-to man though when in trouble.
He's had 24 receptions in the last 2 weeks. He was 12 of 12 today.
It's good.
12 of 12.
He just
That's
doesn't
Brock
throw to him in
Bowers
the
sort of
red
play.
zone. That's
No,
the
he
only
doesn't.
thing.
Yeah, he's got a low touchdown percentage.
Moves the
doesn't he?
sticks down the field, no worries. Red zone,
Give
nah.
him a look in, Kyler.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too predictable. If you throw to him literally every other play, they
I
tend to
suppose if
cover him
you're
in the
just
red zone.
bigger than everyone else, they just throw to him.
Yeah, yes, so.
Makes sense.
I tell you
Sounds
what,
easy.
though, Sam Darnold again, like he did last week against the Bears in fourth quarter and overtime, was clutch.
He's delivering.
He was very good.
We were nervous that
We
he
were.
was fading away.
Yep.
And he was gone. And I think you said it a few weeks ago, like, I called it. Sam Darnold, this is done now. The Vikings are done. And he's just popped up and said, no, I'm still here, boys. They're not winning as convincingly or putting up huge numbers, but they're winning. They're doing what they need to do, and they're going to be playing playoff football.
I don't think I said it as strongly as the Vikings are done. I did say that there was a Sam Darnold decline that was setting in, and I think he was going to settle down.
Well, there was. He was throwing more interceptions and turning the ball over.
And to his credit, he's turned it around the last few weeks. I didn't think he would get back to this point, but I'm thrilled to see it. I love Sammy Darnold.
Mate, there was no run game for Minnesota today.
Aaron Jones, 2 fumbles.
Sam Darnold, 4 of 22. It was basically their lead rusher. Cam Akers had 4 for 22. Jones had 5 for 22. There was 68 yards on the ground. That's not going to win you many games. So they were lucky to get away with it, I think.
Well, Jones, 2 fumbles. He also dropped a admittedly difficult catch in the end zone, but he did catch TD to win it at the end.
He did.
All right. What do we got? 1, 2, 3 games to go. The Seahawks at the Jets, 26-21. This is a weird old game. Seahawks 7-5, eking out a win to go top of the NFC West. Jets 3-9. Doss, yes, you did call this. You said the Jets would bottle it. That first quarter looked so good.
When they were 21-7 up, I said, watch the Jets gas this.
Rodgers was playing with a smile. He was moving in the pocket. He was connecting with Devontae Adams, just like days of old. He even laid a block.
It's because he came off the bye week.
That's right, fresh.
Right.
Old
Fresh.
bones, feeling good.
And you said he laid a block, didn't you?
He did, yeah.
He smiled after
he
it too.
did, that's what I'm talking
You can't
about.
hurt me.
They took a 14-0 lead, and then it all started to fall apart after that big lead. And when it was 21-7, do you know what really turned it, Doss?
Lenny Williams,
big defensive lineman he had 2 sacks for the game, but the moment that really turned it, because the Jets didn't score after this, was a pick 6. Rodgers just threw it into his massive breadbasket, bobbles it, takes it. The big man runs for 92 yards.
He broke the record for a defensive lineman pick 6. It was previously 91 yards.
And he was quick. They were not.
He had pace.
After 10 yards, they were not catching him.
Mate, these boys are usually pretty quick over 10 or 20 because they're explosive
Normally
players,
not 92 though.
so they can get going. But 92 yards, that's a long
I
sprint.
was waiting for
Lenny was downhill.
I was waiting for Madden, when the gas runs out on your lineman and he runs at about 11 pace for the rest of it and just gets swamped by a cornerback.
Did he jump on the tank when he got to the bench? Really?
I don't know. Did he, Doss?
I didn't see
oxygen tank.
I didn't see footage of Lenny sucking him in with the 0-2 on the bench.
But if you want to know what a 5-vote performance looks like for a defensive lineman, 2 sacks and a 92-yard touchdown return will do it.
3 tackles for loss.
He was
on top of that.
He was everywhere.
Awesome.
And he's had a good year, actually. There was some magic for the Jets. Kenny Nwangwu, that's a hard name to say. His 4th return touchdown of the year, went 99 yards this time. It was his first game for the Jets too, previously of the Vikings. But it was New York who conceded 19 straight points to lose their 3rd straight. And Gino was up and down again. He was up and down again. I'm just not convinced by this dude at the moment.
Well,
yeah, I haven't been that convinced all year. I mean, he's put up some numbers, but he just, like you said, he's just a little bit inconsistent. I think if they make playoffs, which I guess they probably will, I don't think
they're a wild card team, aren't they?
Yeah, I think I
no,
don't think
as in the division.
As in like out in.
Yeah, I don't think teams are too worried about coming up against them.
Yeah.
Well, they'll get Minnesota or Green Bay week 1.
They'll lose if that's the match.
Because they'll be the 5th seed.
Anyway,
one of those.
We don't need to talk about the Jets anymore, do we?
No, let's go. Bucks.
I was going to mention Jackson Smith and Jigba again. Yep. Another nice game, and there's a little issue though with the Seattle run game at the moment. Kenny Walker and Zach Charbonnet is not quite as efficient as probably what they were at the start.
Walker's dropped off, hasn't he?
Yeah. He was banged up and he missed some games for a while there. He's come back and still doesn't look right.
Yeah.
So they got some issues. And the Seattle offensive line is still a concern.
It is.
It's not getting it done. But we no longer have to talk about the Jets, despite the fact that
we've said that about 8 times and we continue to.
Did you mention the 3 fumbles?
Watch them win the next 4 games now.
The 3 fumbles on kickoff
5
returns
for
the Seahawks.
LaVisca Chenault. I saw he had 2. Did he have a 3rd, or was it someone else?
There was someone else had one.
Okay, so 2 for Chenault, then they replaced him, and
that there was 3.
Slippery football.
Out of control. 2 games to go. Bucks and Panthers, 26-23. The Panthers 3-9. The Bucks 6-6. I mean, I've been tooting about their easy run home, but they did not make it easy today, and it all came down to overtime on this one. After Bryce Young led a very mature drive at more than 50% completion to score with Adam Thielen. Then Baker Mayfield led his own little quick time drive to get them in field goal range. Carolina sat off. Baker just hit. This is Hart again, right? He goes for a big run, even though he's got a bung ankle. He came off early in the game, comes back on, goes with that run, hits targets. Chase McLaughlin ties it up with a 51-yard field goal. Then in overtime, it looked like the Panthers had won it because McLaughlin duffs a 55-yarder. He puts that wide. So that led to an incredible one-hander from Adam Thielen. Bryce Young on a nice drive again. All they need to do is just get a bit closer for a field goal.
Just the very next play.
Just a bit closer. One more should do it. Tuba.
You know
Big
what
tubes.
the frustrating part is Bryce was leading that drive to perfection. He was throwing the ball, everything was going well, and then they got to a point where, okay, now we can run the ball. And sometimes I think, what's the point in changing it up? You know, I know when Pittsburgh do it a little bit, they bring Justin Fields in when they want to run the ball a bit more. But if Russell's leading a nice drive, why change it up? Why start running the ball with a different player? Bryce was playing well. Just keep throwing it down to 4 or 5 yard completions rather than, I mean, Tuba's usually pretty safe.
He's had a good season.
Well, look, I'm sure David Tepper will be asking those questions of Dave Canales all night tonight because Tuba ended up fumbling it. It was knocked out by Nelson, picked up by Diaby, sent back the other way with a big Rashad White run. And
First thing he did all game.
It was, but it was important. And then a big chip shot. Oh, it was a 30-yard field goal. Not guaranteed these days. McLaughlin wins it. But this is a different Bryce Young that we're seeing. It is different. And it was good to see the smiles and the energy. When he scored that touchdown to put them up late, some will criticize them for celebrating too much before the game was won. But you got to give it to Bryce Young and co. I mean, he deserves these nice moments, and he hasn't had many in his career. So at least he is showing a lot more. This last month has been outstanding compared to where he was. Like, he's still got a lot of work to do, but gee, he's shown a bit.
He hasn't set the world on fire in terms of TD production or anything like that.
But he's not turning it over.
But today was his best game, one in the air and one on the ground. But like you said, he's not creating turnovers. He's not turning the ball over, which is the important. And we saw that with Daniel Jones to start his career. That second year, we said like his offensive, TDs weren't up that high, but he didn't turn the ball over as much. And that's where we thought his next step was now to offensively start to produce a bit more. And that's where
Bryce Young's just starting to show some good signs. Don't start comparing him to Daniel Jones, please.
But what we're saying is that if Bryce can keep this going for the rest of this year, then next year we would hopefully see the development in Bryce Young that we didn't get to see in Daniel Jones. And that's the offensive development of more TDs whilst keeping those turnovers low.
And the other thing, it's not just no turnovers. It's actually good drives at the end of games, which is something that is hard to teach.
Well, 186 pass yards in the first half today, most in his career.
Yeah.
Considering he only averages 178 per game. So he did well there. Finished on 298. That was the second most of his career.
He's gone over 300 once, right?
So far, yeah. Run game wasn't happening at all.
No.
I mean, we spoke about Hubbard's fumble at the end.
But he's been good this year.
He has, but Young couldn't depend on him today. 21 carries, 78 yards, on the ground. And I spoke about the Panthers last week in their red zone conversion, which is what cost them against the Chiefs. Again today, they were 2 for 6 last week, one of 4 today.
Thielen dropped one in the end zone, back of the end zone.
He
it was
did.
Very catchable.
Made up for it with that ridiculous one-hander, though.
He did, yeah.
For a 48-year-old, that's a good catch.
It's not bad.
Tampa starting to get healthy, though. Yeah, Mike Evans looked really good again. He had a one-handed touchdown catch.
Well, Thielen's actually eligible for his pension in a couple of years.
And it's about the same as he's being paid by Carolina. Yeah. Look, the Bucks, interesting.
The defense still worries me.
They weren't convincing at all. Yeah. But that said, this is an improved Panthers team, and divisional games, there's always something. Yeah, so they got it done. The important thing is they got the win. They're 6-6.
Bucky Irving, we're going to speak about him.
Oh, I talked about him in the juiceometer this morning. 185 scrimmage yards and a TD. He was massive. He's the number one there. Bucky's backfield, Hawley. It's all happening.
It's happening now, isn't it? I mean, Rashad White still, I know he had that 38-yard carry that got his average up. He still went at 6.9 yards per carry.
But he's not the main guy.
But he's not the main guy anymore. I think Rashad was holding on to the fact that he was the guy that was the receiving back. But I think Bucky's probably taken over that mantle as well now.
We've seen a couple of Tampa Bay playoff appearances in the last few years, which have been foiled in part by a bad running game. Lenny Fournette, when he had no juice left. Rashad White last year had no juice. But now, Bucky Irving has thrown a little bit of
it has worked well because they haven't smashed Bucky from the start of the season. Rashad was the guy at the start of the season. Bucky helped him out. And now Bucky's taking over. See, I haven't looked at his total carries or his total touches. But compared to a normal lead back, they'd be well down.
Yeah. Oh, he's fresh.
Which is perfect for Tampa Bay and for Bucky. Oh, they have to make the playoffs first, but
Tampa got the Raiders at home next week.
Yeah, this is what I mean.
Nice little.
They're
but then
floating
they've got
home.
Chargers, Cowboys both away after that.
Yeah, they'll be the Cowboys. They should anyway if they're serious. But the Bucks, they're liable to drop that
And
too.
then two divisional at home to finish, Carolina again.
Yep.
And then the Saints to finish.
A couple of big games.
One more to go. Eagles at Ravens, 24-19. Eagles 10-2. Ravens 8-5. They continue, the Eagles, to prove in their own unique way that they are definitely the real deal. Confidently beating the Ravens on their own turf. Don't let that late Baltimore touchdown fool you. That was a consolation. Yeah. Barkley stayed just on track for the record. The defense was big when it mattered. And they now have 8 wins in a row, Dos.
They do. The number one defense beat the number one offense today. And yeah, you mentioned that late touchdown with 3 or 4 seconds left. The Ravens were averaging 29 points per game coming in, or 30 points per game coming in. And the Eagles' defense really held them to 12 points. If you discount that last minute touchdown.
Junk time doesn't count.
Real junk time. Well, I mean, the game, this was legitimate junk time.
You know, the only thing that would have made it more junk time is if that score didn't get them within one score, because there was still a mathematical possibility that they could have won it.
Return it.
Proper junk time is like 3 seconds to go and you're down by 25. That DOS
or
detests
if you're up by 40 points.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
Unless you're Detroit.
I like that.
It's never junk time if you're Detroit.
No such thing as junk time in Detroit.
Justin Tucker.
Yeah, I had that in my notes. He missed an extra point and 2 field goals.
Well, he's only made 4 of his last 8 field goal attempts, 70.4% on the season. This is more. Every kick's going left. This is more than a concern for
just aim right, just
the Ravens.
Same
right.
Everything's hooking left.
At what point can you drop Justin Tucker?
Well, you know what? I talked about the kickers today on the Daily Show, and it's one thing to say drop your kicker.
I listen.
Thanks, man. Good app.
It wasn't bad.
Cheers.
One of the better
You
ones.
said one of the... Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. It's one thing to drop your kicker. It's another to find a replacement. And who's out there? If this many gun kickers are struggling, we know how unpredictable in a normal year backup kickers can be. I mean, surely that's even worse. Although the backups have done pretty decent jobs this year. So I don't know. What do you do with Tucker? It's the last thing you need is your once reliable kicker struggling now.
It comes come playoff time. Kickers are one of the most important players on your roster.
Brett Maher, Dallas Cowboys.
Well,
get him back. He couldn't be any worse.
Playoffs are going. They should be close games, and Baltimore are playing a lot of close games, and they're going to need Justin Tucker to be on. Like he kicks those goals, he kicks those field goals, so they win. It's as simple as that. And if he's gonna cost them a season.
Yeah,
cost them they'll be.
He doesn't deserve that. What's your helmet worth these days? Can I get it for $20?
Oh man, the GOAT helmet. He's still got the record.
Still the record
with the inscription on it.
That's true. Almost lost it to Joey Sly today.
Big loss though. Big loss though in terms of AFC North standings and my personal wages that I have on Pittsburgh Steelers to win the AFC North.
Yes, you do have money on that, and you have money on them winning the Super Bowl. What are the 3 things?
Winning the Super Bowl, winning the AFC, and winning the AFC North.
Tell you what, that post that's gone viral of you, it's a roller coaster in the comments. Every week you either get praised or absolutely hated upon.
Might have to give
Look at this idiot. They lost to the Browns. Blah, blah, blah.
You might have to give it another nudge this week.
Well, mate, they're a couple. They're essentially, or what would you say, a game and a half ahead because they've got the bye.
Yep.
So they're 9-3. Baltimore 8-5. Pittsburgh could turn that into a 10-3. They're 2 games ahead, mate, and
they got a brutal run to finish.
They do.
But a huge win against Cincy though. That was one of the ones I was worried about.
That was the scare. I think Baltimore have a bit of a run. Oh, they got the Giants. Then the Baltimore Steelers game in a couple of weeks' time is going to be the one that probably decides it.
Yeah,
huge. Finish this off before trivia, Dos.
Eagles offense, first 4 drives, punt fest, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That was looking ominous considering the Ravens secondary is their pass defense is one of the worst in the leagues. Then Hurts finally started to get something going. Back-to-back touchdown drives. Remember, no Devonta Smith in this game. Again, missed with the hamstring. But credit to the Philly defense again because the Ravens, on all those 3 and outs, the Ravens should have put more points on the board and they were able to contain them very well. And then in the second half, they really took over. Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. I was worried about Brendan Graham being out.
It's a very sad story.
Josh Sweat stepped up. Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean made big stops. Zach Bourne again, your boy Curt.
Bourne,
showed up. And then the Ravens just couldn't convert. And credit on the road to Philly. It's a great win. And they keep in touch for that number 1 seed in the NFC.
That they do, Dos. That's the wrap. Browns at Broncos tomorrow for M&F. We've got Dos's trivia coming right up to finish. Can I just raise one thing about the way that things are reported in the NFL? And this is you see this in Australia all the time. You can tell a publication has no idea about the NFL when they report a headline based on how much money that player earns. I'll give you an example. Trevor Lawrence knocked out today. Sky News Australia. Chaos erupts as $55 million a year NFL player gets knocked out by a dirty hit. News.com.au. Wife speaks out after $422 million star KO'd. It's like, if the only thing you have to go to is the money and career earnings of Trevor Lawrence, where do they get 422 from? I suppose that's a 200 and something plus US contract converted to dollars. That sounds inflated though, Doss, doesn't it?
That's not right.
They factored in touchdown
Who's that?
bonuses.
News.com.
Yeah. An ever reliable source for NFL and for anything really. But don't you reckon whenever they go to that clickbait title, just like you with your "Where are the haters now" comment, Doss, you just lose all credibility.
I've only done that once on.
That was just to get Hawley.
That was just to get Hawley any bit. That's all I wanted out of it.
That's what they'll be saying about us soon, Doss.
Clickbait.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a reputation.
MCM employees, multi-million-dollar MCM employees, slips on footpath.
Curtis Du Bois' clickbait empire collapses under weight of lawsuit from own employee. All right, Doss, trivia time. Let's do it.
Slippery shoes.
It is trivia time. Yeah, that has been converted to AUD.
Yeah, okay.
So, anyway. Now, as of today, 8 wide receivers have had over 6,000 yards in their first 5 seasons in the league. Who are those 8 wide receivers?
Jefferson and Chase.
Wrong. Oh, Jefferson's right. He's number 1.
Sorry, I was finding the music, Doss. Can you repeat the question for me and the punters?
Oh, really?
Well, it helps when you're listening to hear.
Antonio Brown.
No.
What's the question?
8 wide receivers have had over 6,000 yards in their first 5 seasons in the league.
First 5 seasons.
Over 6,000 yards. Mike Evans has gone 1,000 a year. Whether or not he averaged 1,200 a year.
Just back your gut, Hawley.
Mark Evans.
Yeah, correct.
Also, is he a chance this year?
No.
I think he's missed too many games.
He's like 500 still, doesn't he?
Only 5 weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
He's still a chance.
So who have we got? We got Jefferson?
We got
Calvin.
Jefferson and Evans.
Calvin Johnson.
No.
No, Megatron.
That's interesting.
Larry Fitz.
No.
Devonta Adams.
No.
Really? This is concerning.
Oh, so how many are current players?
You've got two, there is only one more as a current player.
Stephon Diggs.
No.
Oh, gosh.
It's not Cheetah.
No.
Just reeling all of them off at the moment.
Think of some legends too.
Are they all wide receivers or are they?
Yeah, all wide receivers.
Randy.
Randy Moss is number 3.
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice is number 4.
What do we got? 3 to go?
And one's a current player.
Yeah.
Only 3 to go. That's pretty good.
You've got 4 to go.
4 to go.
Big
AJ Brown. AJ Brown.
No. He's just short. He's like 5,940.
Oh, you're
that's what I
kidding.
said as of today.
Stiff. Big name current player or just a guy that just floats around now?
Wouldn't be Terry McLaurin.
No.
That's not scary.
This guy's had a down year, but so's his team, and he's injured and banged up.
CD
Nice.
CeeDee Lamb.
Okay, so 2 past players to go. Is that right?
Yeah, 3. These guys are retired.
2
well,
or 3
I
left?
think there's 3 left.
Oh, so there's one still floating on a roster somewhere, is there?
Well, yeah, he floated last year on a roster. I don't know if he's formally retired. Had a big career with one team, and then a little bit of popping at the end.
AJ Green.
He's one. Yeah, AJ
nice.
Green.
Good get.
Good one.
Now, who's the guy that had a big career with one team and sort of floated into the ether? Give us a...
You said, yeah,
NFC
you asked
South.
Larry Fitz, didn't you?
I did say NFC South. NFC South. So what do we got? Falcons, Bucks, Falcons.
Julio.
Julio
Nice,
Jones.
Nice. Well, he technically wasn't one team. He went to Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Sure.
One to go. Give us a division.
Well, they are in the NFC West. My boy should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he's a Seattle player.
No, he's not. should be in the Hall of Fame. Should have been in there 2 years ago. And he should be getting inducted this year. And
Are we talking San Francisco 49er?
No, we're not.
Jeez,
You talking
only had
greater
two.
show and turf?
Come on. Kurt.
Is it Torrey Holt?
Yeah.
Hey, we got it.
Like it.
We got
Cut the minute and a half of not knowing
It
out.
wasn't a minute and a half. It was a bit longer than it should have been.
Oh,
this
this
last
one.
bit was edited.
Torrey Holt.
Yeah, well done.
Hey,
Paulie.
oh, you're good.
You
Yeah.
can pick either of
Well
those.
done.
Nice.
Now. Yeah.
All right.
You
so
got there, Torrey Holt.
the list.
I was just going to say that, wouldn't I?
We got that in what? Like, we got all of those in about 45
6
seconds.
seconds?
Yeah. Jefferson, Holt, Moss, Rice, Julio Jones, AJ Green, Mike Evans, and CeeDee Lamb all over 6,000 yards in their first 5 seasons in the league.
Good.
If you're watching on YouTube, ignore the very rough jump cut to Hawley getting that right. Promise it wasn't edited. All right, Dos, well done. Let's just let this song finish. That's the show, boys. Another beauty. Hour and 5 minutes. NFL.
Seems to
covered
be
off.
about the mark at the moment.
Yeah,
hour
yeah. It's
five.
about right, I think. It's about right.
I got complimented on the Daily Show because I went for 22 minutes and
People
I
loved
got a
it, did
few
they?
comments
Bit of
saying,
extra.
"Oh, this is better."
Oh, okay.
Kurt gives us like 4 minutes on the Daily Show.
Rubbish.
And, no, maybe 7.
Well, I give you 7 for the juiceometer because it's just a quick bang, crash it out between the red zone window and the SNF starting. Because I've got to get straight back onto the research.
Yep.
But I did a 17-minuter on Sunday.
You did?
Yeah.
The only one was
Pre-church, 17 minutes. That's yards.
with the quarterbacks situation for each team next season.
Yeah, you like that?
I didn't mind it.
Thanks.
A couple of them I thought.
Hang on. You sent me a message saying you liked it, except the only one you didn't agree with was Lawrence. because
Well,
of
the only
contract.
one was Lawrence because he signed a contract in the extension in the off season, so he'll
What's the other one you
clearly
didn't
be
agree with?
there.
What's the other one you didn't agree with?
No, I think that was about right.
There you go.
Actually, that
I'll
was probably
take
about the only one. To be fair,
There's only one note from Dawson, 17 minutes of content. You've done well. All right, that's the show, boys. We'll see everybody on Wednesday. What do we got coming up on Wednesday? Can anyone remember the run sheet?
Yes, the coaching hot seat. Which job's the best job?
Oh, yeah, the good and bad of all the vacant jobs. That's right. We'll pick on
I'm
each.
switched on, mate. Don't you worry.
You are. Look
I
at
got it-
that.
I got it
Internet
sorted.
back working, is it?
Oh, only because I saw it and realised I thought that was for tonight. I thought I actually have to prep for this, and then saw that it was for Wednesday and was relieved.
48
Oh,
hours.
Hawley's joke
mate,
of the
so-
week.
Oh, joke of the week, yep. So that shows in 48 hours, so you got 47 hours off, mate, and then you can cram it all in the last hour for your show. All right.
Rookie of the year, offensive and defensive. Was that?
That's
also?
right. We're doing that too.
Kidding.
Well done,
Well,
boys.
all on Wednesday.
All on Wednesday.
It's a lot of prep. I know,
You can,
Hawley,
you can
yeah.
scarcely believe how much they get in one episode. We'll see you then.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
It's a great endorsement. What, all that in one episode? Legitimately ask me.